The Supreme Court of India's recent judgment concerning the misuse of Section 498A of the Indian Penal Code (IPC) has stirred considerable debate, striking at the heart of a law designed to protect women from dowry harassment. On one hand, it reaffirms the commitment to safeguarding women's rights, but on the other, it attempts to address widespread concerns about the abuse of the provision. This video critically analyzes the implications of this judgment, weighing its impact on both the prevention of false allegations and the protection of genuine victims of dowry harassment. Understanding Section 498A and its intended purpose. Section 498A was introduced in the IPC in 1983 to combat dowry-related harassment and cruelty within marriages. Its intent was to provide women with a legal recourse against physical and emotional abuse, often linked to dowry demands. The provision criminalizes any act of cruelty by the husband or his relatives, including harassment for dowry, which can range from physical violence to mental torture. Given India's patriarchal social structure and high rates of domestic violence, Section 498A was meant to offer women a much-needed avenue to seek justice and protection. The rise of false allegations. While the law's objectives were noble, it quickly gained notoriety for being misused. Over the years, a significant number of cases have emerged where Section 498A was invoked to settle personal scores, often by women seeking revenge, financial gain, or a means to pressurize husbands or their families. The ease with which a woman could file a complaint and the severity of punishment for the accused created fertile ground for exploitation. Allegations made under Section 498A were often used as a tool of blackmail, coercion, or leverage in divorce and custody battles. The high rate of false allegations under Section 498A has become a topic of great concern in the legal and social spheres. In 2014, the National Crime Records Bureau (NCRB) data showed that over 30% of cases under this section were either false or resulted in acquittals. This disturbing trend led to an erosion of public faith in the law and cast a shadow on its legitimacy. Accusations, even if baseless, often resulted in a social and financial stigma that ruined the reputation of innocent individuals and families. The Supreme Court's intervention. In its recent ruling, the Supreme Court addressed these concerns by providing several safeguards against the misuse of Section 498A. The court acknowledged that the provision had been increasingly weaponized, especially by disgruntled wives seeking revenge or financial settlements. The court emphasized the need for a careful, balanced approach when dealing with such cases, recognizing that the law could not be allowed to be a tool for harassment or vendetta. The judgment calls for a series of reforms aimed at ensuring that the law is applied with due diligence and fairness. It specifically directed the police to conduct a preliminary investigation to ascertain the veracity of the allegations before arresting the accused. This is a crucial step as it introduces a layer of scrutiny that was often missing in the past. The court also recommended that the arrest of a husband or his family members should not be automatic but should be based on the severity of the complaint and the likelihood of evidence tampering. Furthermore, the judgment highlights the need for greater judicial discretion in handling such cases with a focus on ensuring that the accused are not subjected to unnecessary harassment. Balancing justice and protection for women. While the judgment is a step in the right direction in curbing misuse, it does raise certain critical questions regarding its impact on genuine victims of dowry harassment. Section 498A was created as a shield for women who face severe abuse, and any dilution of its provisions may create an environment where victims hesitate to come forward due to fears of being disbelieved or questioned. The court's suggestion for a preliminary investigation and its push for the prevention of immediate arrest are important safeguards, but they must not become obstacles for genuine victims seeking justice. There is the risk that the stringent checks on the application of Section 498A could result in delays or the dismissal of legitimate complaints, making it harder for women to get the protection they need. Many women already face tremendous social stigma and personal trauma when they report dowry harassment, and prolonged delays in legal processes could further discourage them from seeking recourse. Moreover, the ruling does does not fully address the larger systemic issues such as inadequate implementation of existing laws, biases in law enforcement, and the failure of courts to provide timely relief. These factors contribute to a situation where victims often suffer in silence without a clear path to justice. By focusing on reducing false allegations, the court risks unintentionally undermining the very mechanism that provides crucial support to women experiencing genuine abuse. The need for comprehensive reforms. While the judgment is a necessary response to the misuse of Section 498A, it should not be seen as a substitute for comprehensive reforms that address the root causes of both dowry, harassment, and false allegations. The law needs to be strengthened to ensure that it continues to protect victims while simultaneously preventing its abuse. First and foremost, a robust system for the prompt and effective investigation of dowry harassment complaints is essential. This should include better training for police personnel to handle sensitive cases with empathy and professionalism. The court's recommendation for a preliminary inquiry is a welcome move, but it must be enforced rigorously, and there should be clear guidelines to ensure that women's complaints are not dismissed prematurely. Second, the issue of social stigma attached to dowry harassment cases needs to be tackled. The government and civil society should work together to create awareness campaigns that educate the public about the seriousness of dowry-related abuse and the importance of respecting women's rights. Such efforts can go a long way in reducing the pressures that women face when seeking help. Finally, the judiciary should ensure that Section 498A is not misused while also taking steps to fast-track trials in cases involving dowry harassment. The judicial process should be streamlined to reduce delays that often lead to further victimization of both the complainants and the accused. To conclude, the Supreme Court's recent judgment on Section 498A of the IPC strikes a delicate balance between preventing the misuse of the law and ensuring that genuine victims of dowry harassment continue to receive justice. However, the implementation of safeguards should be monitored carefully to prevent undue delays and victim blaming. The ruling should be seen as part of a broader effort to reform the legal framework around domestic abuse, with a focus on providing timely, fair, and empathetic justice to all individuals regardless of gender. The judgment is a step forward in ensuring that Section 498A serves its true purpose, protecting women from dowry harassment while curbing its misuse by malicious complainants. However, it must be accompanied by systemic reforms that address the deep-rooted issues of gender inequality, legal delays, and bias in the system to achieve a truly fair and just society. Before we close, here is a question for you. Do you think the Supreme Court's judgment on Section 498A strikes the right balance between preventing misuse and ensuring justice for genuine victims of dowry harassment? What further reforms should be implemented to improve the effectiveness of such laws?